Hello and welcome to DevTV. Today we are very lucky to have Raul Pitoro with us. He's the chief of party at a fantastic project in Mozambique. He's going to talk to us about his project and potentially what we can learn from his project and the activities that they have at the Feed for the Future. Welcome to DevTV. Good morning, Raul. Oh, hello. I think we lost Rahul for a moment. Hello. Hey, there you are. How's it going?
I'm great, going good.
Excellent, excellent.
How about yourself? Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's busy time for you over there in Mozambique. But just before we carry on, what I thought would be really useful is if you can give our audience a sort of like a quick synopsis of what Feed the Future is and who Raul is.
Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. My name is Raul Pitoro. I am chief of party for the um, Feed the Future Agriculture Innovations that is being implemented in Mozambique. It is a 5-year market system program. It's funded by USAID with a total of a budget estimated around 21 million US dollars. In terms of the objectives of the project, FTF Innova started in 2017, looking at options to reach an equitable and inclusive growth and increased resilience in agriculture market. So the intention basically is to work with the market actors that are interested in changing their business practices in order to offer better values and services to their clients. So basically, this is what we are trying to do. And we are operating in 3 main pillars. The first pillar is what we call improved terms of trade. The idea there is that we find innovative solutions that allow smallholder farmers and output buyers to establish a marketplace where the commercialization is not only driven by exploitative or once-off type of transactions, but in more sustainable and fair market operations. The second pillar is what we call improved access to inputs, services, and information. As you know, Mozambique, the productivity is low. The agriculture productivity is low. The access to improved inputs is also low. We are operating under environment where services for agriculture are almost inexistent, but also information is lacking. So we are trying to tackle those issues in that pillar. The last but not least is what we call improved and quality relationships. The idea is to establish beneficial relationships between market actors. We started from a status where we found that market actors are operating in an environment where there's lack of trust and lack of cooperation. And those 2 aspects hinder development of a market in a specific space like Mozambique. So we are operating on those 3 main pillars. The entry points market actors. They can be a private sector, can be government institution, can also be universities, and so on and so forth. So we operate under those entry points.
And I mean, thank you very much for that introduction. Just before we dive into the potential difficulties that you came across, and especially the constraints and how you brought market systems to address those constraints, what I thought would be really interesting is if you can draw a line between what's what the market actors are doing and your primary beneficiaries. By that I mean you have private sector actors within the country that are in this space. What is it that they were traditionally doing before you came on, and what was the situation as far as the beneficiaries were concerned, and how have you, as Feed the Future, tried to make that work to the benefit of both parties?
Thank you. In fact, when we came operating on an agriculture sector, we found several issues. Those issues were found by several other projects. One of the issues has to do with characteristic of agriculture in Mozambique. Farmers are dispersed and located in remote areas. And that's one issue. And on the other hand, I'll give you an example of input suppliers. Input suppliers were operating mainly on commercial centers, or in the center of the village, or in the center of the district. And also they will have to travel long distance to acquire inputs, and at the same time, for them to be able to still continue running the business, they would increase some kind of markups on their inputs, and that was the status quo. And what we have tried to do is to work with some of the input distributors to establish a distribution network that benefits the smallholder farmers. Because at the end, when markets or prices are increased or markups are made, who pays the cost? It is the smallholder farmers. So the idea is, how can we work together to benefit the smallholder farmers? We partner with several input farms, and we started some of the innovations. One of the innovation was to establish a distribution network which delivers input at the last mile. The whole idea is that instead of retail points working on stocks or managing inventory, why don't they just manage orders instead of having inputs stored in some conditions that are not good? For instance, seeds are sensitive to storage facilities. Temperature has to be controlled, and all of those issues, and that deteriorate the quality of seed, for instance. So we thought that one of the idea would be, instead of the retail points just focusing on storing, how about transferring those responsibilities to a distributor? And instead of having a lot of inputs or merchandise in a shop, work on the pre-ordering system, where farmers will come, will pre-order, and the retail point will register, aggregate, and request the volumes that have been pre-ordered. This way, he doesn't have to manage stocks, but he just have to manage orders. And the distributor will come on a specific days that have been agreed to deliver what has been ordered. So that was one of the innovation, and it's working well.
That's actually very clever. So it's almost like it's like the Japanese just-in-time processes. So effectively, you reduce the wastage, you reduce the need to store under really bad conditions or poor conditions, so that the farmers get the real quality and the quantity that they want at the time they want it.
Exactly. It works It works that way, and then it also all work on the supply chain side as well. What they call market to fork. So the idea is to, especially when it comes to food like poultry, the whole idea is to be able to sell fresh meat, fresh chicken to the consumer. And then that works when the pre-ordering system is in place. So it's been practiced by other market actors in different value chains.
Wow, fantastic. So, was has there been any sort of like infrastructural issues that have played into that system? Because I'm thinking, so for this to work really really well, you have to make sure the farmers are in, well, or the distributors are in the proper location, and if they have to drive across a certain distance, there isn't any major infrastructure issue that can affect the vehicle or affect the timing of delivery. How does that work? Have you had any issue along those lines?
Yes, there's an infrastructure issue, and that's common issue in Africa. Roads are bad. Even the logistics are starting coming up now.
Mm.
Logistic services are coming up now, but the major one of the major constraints is the infrastructure that affects the whole development in agriculture. Although the government is investing heavily in infrastructure, we heard recently that the Millennium Challenge Corporation is prioritizing two areas for the development. One is infrastructure, and the other one is agriculture. So yes, infrastructure is a problem.
But it hasn't really stopped the innovation from being copied by other potential partners, or even other
No,
companies that are not
no,
exactly your partner.
no, not at all, not at all. Yes, uh, private sector is aggressive, and we hope that it will continue that way.
Fantastic. So in terms of the challenges of bringing the private sector to change, I mean this is a slight change of business model for them. Were there specific things that you picked up in the way that we present ideas to private sectors, and how responsive that the individual actors that you were piloting with, and then you started doing the project with? Um, what would you say is the primary strategy to make sure that you get a good response to an innovation that you're bringing to market actors?
Yeah, thank you. It was not an easy thing to do. Uh, Private sector has its own objectives and profit maximization and others. But when we came in, the talking points were, we are interested in helping you improving your business, but what we'll do, we will kind of buy down the risk of trying new ways of doing business. So we're buying down the risk for you to try. So if we fail, at least we learn and we adapt to move on. But the whole objective is to help you improve your business. So that way, we managed to um, convince some of them, but most of them were kind of skeptical, because it's not easy to try new ways of doing things. Uh, Changing mindset, it takes time. It takes experimentation. So our approach is what we call probe, learn, and adapt. The whole idea is that we should be able to learn as fast as possible and adapt the innovation so that can benefit the um, the the private sector. And the second point, which we found interesting and important, is that we should be able to learn together and put the objective of the private sector first. So what we are trying to do is to see if he can even improve, do it better. But if he's not ready, there's no need to force it, because the ultimate goal is to make him buy the or own the innovation and take it to